Everything you've been told about energy is wrong. It's not something you get from food, caffeine, or a high-energy playlist. It's not a fleeting mood, a fleeting mindset, or a state reserved for the spiritually enlightened. Energy isn't external. It's innate, constant, responsive, and already coursing through you. Here's the revelation. Most people unknowingly leak, block, or misdirect this energy, and it's not their fault. They were never taught to perceive it, let alone harness its power. What if you didn't need more energy, increased motivation, or relentless hustle? What if the core issue lies in how you've been conditioned to perceive energy itself? This isn't about crystals, mantras, or manifesting desires with a vision board. This is about awakening to an ever-present system operating in the background, a system you can learn to recode. Grasp this, and you'll never view yourself or reality in the same light. You weren't born disconnected. You were trained to be. From your initial interactions with the world, your attention was sculpted by systems prioritizing manageability over well-being. Consider this. As a child, your senses were uninhibited. You felt everything, the subtle vibrations in your fingers, the unease in a room, the invisible weight of others' emotions. You were keenly aware, yet you were gradually taught to suppress these perceptions. You were told they were unreal or insignificant, directed instead toward the alphabet, worksheets, and standardized answers. Compliance was rewarded, questioning discouraged. That wasn't education. It was energetic programming. Your nervous system, like everyone's, is designed to adapt to its environment. When the environment dictates, sit still, be quiet, follow the script, your brain complies. However, this compliance comes at a cost. You sacrifice awareness, sensation, and presence. Your innate connection to your internal energy field is progressively replaced by learned responses. You learn to suppress your feelings to conform to expectations. The real tragedy? It's so effective that most remain unaware of its influence. The modern world doesn't need you to be empowered. It needs you to be productive. It needs you to achieve high grades, excel in your job, follow trends, and perpetually scroll. Nearly everything is designed to hijack your attention. Social media, advertisements, news, entertainment. All are engineered to direct your focus outward, away from the subtle yet profound data constantly streaming through your body. The longer your attention remains external, the less you notice what's happening internally in your breath, your spine, the quietude between thoughts. That's where your true energy resides, not in reactions but in your capacity to feel without reacting. There's a truth many won't readily share. Some of the deepest insights into energy mastery are too transformative for mainstream platforms. That's why we've developed Inner Sanctuary, a free bi-weekly newsletter where we explore beyond the surface, sharing insights too profound for public consumption. Subscribe today, and for a limited period, receive a complimentary digital edition of the Emerald Tablet, an ancient Hermetic text that can redefine your perception of reality. The danger of this conditioning isn't just numbness, it's the illusion that numbness is normal. The persistent hum of low-level stress, distraction, and fatigue becomes accepted as part of life. But it's not. It's the price of disconnecting from your own energy. When you lose touch with your internal field, you fail to recognize how much energy dissipates through repetitive thought patterns, emotional reactions, and unspoken tension. You believe you're exhausted when you're simply misaligned. You chase fleeting dopamine hits when what you truly require is inner clarity. The most alarming aspect? You might believe you're not destined to feel empowered, clear, or calm, that you're wired differently. This is false. You've been conditioned to disregard what matters most, but this can be reversed. Your body still possesses the capacity to feel, your awareness to expand, and your energy, despite everything, remains ready. You don't need to transform into someone new. You need to unlearn what was never yours. Energy isn't a finite resource you either possess or lack. It's not depleted at 3 p.m. or replenished by a green smoothie. That's how we're conditioned to see it, like fuel in a tank. Consume, replenish, repeat. This model is fundamentally flawed. It perpetuates the idea of energy as a limited resource, something external that requires chasing, earning, or hacking. True energy doesn't function that way. It's not fuel, it's a flow, and it's constantly moving within you. The real question is, are you allowing it or resisting it? Your body is an energy field, not in a vague, mystical sense, but in a tangible, measurable, biological sense. Your heart generates a magnetic field. Your brain operates on electrical impulses. Your cells respond to frequencies. This isn't metaphorical, it's physics. But there's a deeper dimension. The field isn't just around you, it's interactive, shaped by your focus, your beliefs, and patterns of tension or openness. Most people aren't depleted due to a lack of energy. They're depleted due to the misuse of their existing energy. Each time you replay an old argument in your mind, you expend energy. Each time you scroll through social media with low-level anxiety, you expend energy. Each time you clench your jaw and suppress your true feelings, you expend energy. We've become desensitized to the cost, so it doesn't feel like an expense. You attribute your exhaustion to work, life, or the world, but it largely stems from internal resistance. Subtle, chronic, and invisible until you learn to perceive it. Once you do, everything changes. What if energy isn't about generating more, but about removing obstacles? Imagine every instance of forced positivity, emotional suppression, or faked confidence clogging your energy field. Imagine the times you pushed through exhaustion actually blocking the flow you sought. The truth is, force consumes energy, while alignment amplifies it. This is why individuals deeply connected to their endeavors, athletes in the zone, artists absorbed in their craft, monks in deep meditation don't appear drained. They seem illuminated from within. They haven't hacked energy. They've ceased resisting it. You don't require more power. You need less friction. The aligned, present, and clear version of you isn't hidden behind a cosmic door. It's already here beneath layers of imposed static. Energy isn't a privilege for the elite. It's your natural state when you cease leaking it through resistance and distraction. You don't need complex rituals, mantras, or perfect conditions. You need awareness and radical honesty. Stop believing that energy is an external commodity to be earned. It's an internal force, continuously shaped by your thoughts, knowingly or unknowingly. At this moment, your brain filters out most of reality, not just a fraction, but nearly all of it. Scientists estimate that your nervous system processes around 11 million bits of information per second, while your conscious mind can only process 50. That's not a mistake. From all that occurs, light, sound, sensation, movement, intuition, subtle energy shifts, you are aware of a tiny fraction. The rest is deleted, distorted, or generalized to maintain function in a world designed to desensitize you. This filtering isn't random. It's shaped by your beliefs, expectations, emotional history, and even language. Your brain filters what it deems non-essential or unsafe, including intuitive insights, gut feelings, and subtle energy awareness that don't fit the modern productivity paradigm. If it can't be measured, monetized, or explained, the filter disregards it. Consequently, you navigate life partially conscious, unaware of the vastness you miss. The filter not only limits perception, but shapes your experience. If your filter is attuned to stress, you interpret neutral events as threats. If it's attuned to scarcity, you overlook opportunities. If it's attuned to numbness, you become deaf to your body's signals regarding rest, emotional expression, or energetic misalignment. This isn't a personal defect, it's a survival adaptation. Your brain wasn't built for happiness, it was built for survival, which meant filtering out anything not immediately essential. Subtle energy, deep awareness, emotional clarity, these didn't aid in escaping predators, so they were filtered out. Now, you're no longer fleeing lions, but emails, expectations, and the quiet dread that your life lacks something fundamental. Your protective filter now impedes your progress. You've been trained to mistrust your deeper instincts, label intuition as fanciful, and dismiss gut feelings lacking supporting data. But energy exists regardless of your permission. The moment you question the filter, you reclaim your power. Ask yourself, what am I missing because I was taught it's not there? What sensations have I ignored for so long they feel like nothing? What if my sense of being blocked isn't due to lack of ability, but to conditioning that suppressed the signals guiding my path? Energy mastery doesn't begin with force or effort, it begins with perception, with retraining your mind to cease blocking what it doesn't understand, removing the blindfold your brain mistakenly believes is protective. You don't need to strive harder, you need to open your awareness to what has always been present. A shift occurs the moment you focus your attention. Your breath changes the instant you focus on it. A thought begins to dissipate when observed without reaction. Something softens the moment you tune into your body, even briefly. Tension you were unaware of begins to release. This isn't coincidence, it's the observer effect in action. Often cited as a concept in quantum physics, it's not merely theoretical, you experience it daily. In quantum mechanics, the observer effect illustrates how observation can influence the outcome of an event. Electrons behave differently when observed. Particles alter their trajectory depending on the measurement. The intention isn't to debate the science, but to realize that your awareness has power, real, measurable, and practical. Simply observing something changes its state. Now consider applying this principle inward, becoming the observer of your own thoughts, habits, and energy patterns, not to judge or fix, but simply to observe. Most never make this shift, remaining trapped in reaction. Something happens, they react. A thought arises, they believe it. A feeling emerges, they either suppress it or allow it to consume them. By introducing observation, quiet, clear, non-reactive awareness, you escape the loop, stepping outside the current, creating space. In that space, energy reorganizes, not because you forced it, but because you ceased interference. This is the starting point of energy mastery, not doing more, but observing better. Directing your attention to your energy field, your breath, posture, tone of voice, or the emotions beneath the surface shifts the field itself. You slow unconscious patterns, calm your nervous system, and free energy previously bound by tension, defense, or mental noise. This doesn't require hours of meditation or retreats. It takes moments of genuine presence. This is the power you've always possessed. The mistake is confusing attention with thought, believing that awareness means analyzing, overthinking, dissecting every feeling. That's rumination, not observation. True observation is silent, a sensation without commentary. It's feeling your heartbeat without narrating your entire medical history. One grounds you, the other traps you in mental loops. Learning to feel without over-explaining, to watch without engaging in narratives, allows you to move energy instead of locking it in place. High performers, creatives, and peak state athletes intuitively understand this. They channel energy through awareness, pausing, releasing, or shifting focus, not because they're superhuman, but because they've trained themselves to observe without reacting. This training is accessible to all. If you felt stuck, chaotic, or exhausted, ask yourself, am I observing or am I merely reacting? The moment you become the observer, you not only perceive energy, but influence it, directing it with your focus. Consistency in this practice is transformative, shifting you from chasing control to embodying it. You weren't born disconnected from your energy. You were born sensitive, aware, and highly perceptive. You sensed unspoken truths, detected tension, noticed nuances in tone, posture, and silence. Over time, this perception dulled, not due to dysfunction, but because the world taught you to ignore it. You learned to prioritize logic over instinct, noise over nuance, and reaction over reflection. This wasn't your choice. It was your conditioning. What most don't realize is that perception isn't static. It's a skill, trainable, expandable, and sharpenable. As your perception sharpens, you become more attuned to energy, not in an abstract sense, but in a grounded, embodied way. You notice when thoughts constrict, when your breath shortens, when your shoulders tighten at someone's voice. These are clues, not just reactions. Noticing them amplifies your ability to shift your energy field the opposite of what the world encourages. Most systems thrive on scattered attention, preoccupied minds, and dulled senses. Overstimulation makes you more controllable. Desensitization erodes trust in your instincts. Genuine felt perception is a form of resistance, sovereignty, and reclamation of control from a world that profits from your disconnection. This isn't about mystical intuition or paranormal abilities. It's neuroscience and nervous system literacy. Your brain literally rewires itself based on what you focus on neuroplasticity. Your current level of awareness isn't a life sentence. If you've been numb, reactive, or scattered, that's conditioning, not your inherent nature. Like any habit, it can be broken. Training perception begins with the basics. Feeling the body without narration, observing thoughts without attachment, noticing emotional spikes without explanation. Quieting the mind allows you to feel the hum of your energy field, your internal signal beneath the noise, something you return to, not something you earn. You may have been told that emotions are irrational, intuition is unreliable, and gut feelings are mere noise. What if your sensitivity was never the problem, but the key? What if your capacity to feel, notice, and perceive is your greatest intelligence, and the world couldn't handle it or didn't want you to? Reclaiming your perception isn't just personal growth, it's liberation. Clear seeing prevents control by narratives, distractions, and emotional traps. You cease leaking energy into misaligned situations, choosing responses instead of reacting. This isn't philosophy, it's power, practiced until autopilot becomes impossible. Each pause before reacting, each moment of feeling instead of numbing, each act of witnessing instead of spinning stories transforms your energy field. You become someone who senses energy direction and moves with it rather than against it. That's control born of clarity, not domination, understanding how to direct. This presence is attainable, not reserved for the elite. It's for you, awakening to what has been speaking through your body, breath, and awareness. You don't experience reality directly. You experience your version of it, your lens, narrative, and conditioning. That's the system itself, not a flaw. Your beliefs, expectations, and assumptions act as filters shaping reality. From colors to interpretations of silence, your perception is never neutral. It's learned, programmed, and becomes your invisible prison unless questioned. Consider how often reactions are based on expectations, not reality. A tone triggers a childhood memory, news reactivates fear. A look tightens your body, even without words. These aren't random. They're part of your mind's matrix, built from every experience, belief, and story, constantly shaping your interpretation and energy usage. Your perception prioritizes consistency over clarity. Your brain doesn't want to be correct. It wants familiarity, scanning for recognizable patterns, even if they're detrimental. Believing the world is hostile leads to ignoring kindness and focusing on threat. Believing you're inadequate magnifies mistakes and overlooks successes. All of this affects your energy, emotionally and physically, as every thought, belief, and assumption carries a frequency. Distorted perception contracts your energy field. Awareness alone isn't enough. Delve into the blueprint behind awareness, the assumptions mistaken for truth, the unconscious scripts shaping responses. Become aware of your interpretations, not just your observations. That's true energy mastery beyond surface feelings, to understanding the learned meanings behind them. Most never go there, mistaking energy work for raising vibration or clearing chakras. While useful, these are meaningless with a distorted lens. Affirmations and rituals are futile if you fundamentally believe you're broken, unworthy, or powerless. Your energy aligns with that belief, short-circuiting progress not due to error, but because your underlying narrative remains unchanged. Question the lens you're living through, passed down, installed by culture or rewired by advertising, trauma, or survival. At some point, ask yourself, do I believe this, or have I simply never questioned it? Questioning the lens initiates seeing through it, softening guilt, dimming fear, and fading pressure, not because the world changed, but because your relationship to it did. Energy moves differently, not through force, but through clarity, not through control, but through perception. You become the definer of meaning, shifting everything. Everything converges in the mirror, not the one in your bathroom, but the internal one reflecting what you radiate, attract, and resist. We call this the quantum mirror, reflecting entanglement at the fundamental level of reality. You don't need particle physics to grasp this, you felt it. Sensing tension, thinking of someone before they text, feeling drained by someone who says the right things but emits a different signal. These aren't coincidences. They're evidence that your energy field is constantly communicating, receiving, and responding, even when unconscious. Deliberately tuning into this communication changes reality. The quantum mirror shows what you are, not what you want. You can't fake it, you can't trick it. Affirmations, quotes, and visualizations are useless if underlying fear, doubt, or desperation are present. Honesty is crucial. Own resentment, feel fear, and meet grief. The mirror doesn't punish shadows, it reflects them, and stopping resistance empowers you to transmute them. Most avoid this work, fearing proof of failure if negativity shows up. That's a lie. Noticing misalignment is how you realign. It's feedback, not a setback. The quantum mirror makes the invisible visible, helping you remember who you are beneath the noise. Conscious, non-judgmental observation of your energy creates a feedback loop that transforms everything. Increased feeling leads to increased noticing, which leads to faster shifting, which results in a clearer signal reflected in the mirror through being more present, honest, and intentional. not doing more. The tools are within you. Awareness is the gateway, your breath is the portal, and your attention is the instrument. The mirror reflects exactly what you're putting out, even when unwelcome. Next time you repeat patterns, meet the same people, or hit emotional walls, ask what the mirror is showing you, not to blame yourself, but to reclaim authorship over your energy field. Shifting the signal shifts the reflection. Most think exhaustion stems from work, stress, or sleep deprivation. While relevant, physical fatigue is often a symptom of energetic leakage. Burnout isn't caused by busyness, it's caused by misalignment, with energy being pulled in many directions by unconscious habits, emotional loops, and unchosen mental scripts. The most consistent energy leak is internal friction, constant self-editing, pretending, suppressing truth, smiling when numb, nodding when disagreeing. Going against your body, instincts, or energy splits you, and those splits accumulate. Exhaustion occurs even when inactive, because you've been bleeding energy through a life that isn't fully yours. We've been taught to normalize emotional suppression, glorify overthinking, and treat disconnection as maturity. Yet full self-expression, clarity, groundedness, and unapologetic authenticity are electric. This is the feeling of real energy, not loud or performative, but whole. When you stop fragmenting yourself to fit into systems that never considered your full self, your energy sharpens, focuses, and becomes potent, directed, not drained. This state isn't achieved by adding more, it's achieved by stripping away what isn't you. People-pleasing, self-doubt, internalized shame, and inherited, unquestioned rules. Energy mastery is not about hype, it's about honesty, cutting cords to identities and expectations that never felt right. It takes courage, but it restores your power. Begin with awareness. Identify where you feel drained, not from overwork, but from dishonesty. Where are you holding tension that isn't yours? Where are you trying to be who you think you should be rather than who you are? Awareness in those moments seals the leaks. The world will ask you to perform, conform, and stay in the loop, but feeling the difference between scattered energy and sovereign energy makes it difficult to revert, because you'll feel the emotional and energetic cost. You don't need more energy. You need less noise, distortion, and disconnection from yourself. Removing what was never yours recalibrates your energy field. You don't have to force it, you just have to stop leaking it. The real power of energy mastery lies not in manipulating external forces, but in remembering that you were never disconnected, that everything needed to shift your state, realign your direction, and rewire your reality has always been within you. The ignored breath, the dismissed thought, the numbed body speaking a forgotten language that you are now listening to, that alone changes everything. There's a loud, aggressive, desperate, fear-based control. That's the marketed version: hustle, push, dominate. The kind of control discussed here is different. Quiet, understanding flow, knowing where to focus, not needing to force, aligning with the underlying field, returning to what's real, not fixing what's wrong. Coherence, not chaos, creates. Coherence happens when thoughts, feelings, and actions speak the same language, when your signal is clear enough for reality to reflect back without resistance. This doesn't mean everything will be smooth. It means challenges shift you into observation, not reaction. Recognizing energetic shifts occurs with curiosity, not judgment. You become the calibrator, choosing the frequency. That's real sovereignty. This is a living process, a constant tuning, not a mastered skill. Some days feel aligned, others stuck. That's feedback, not failure. The energy field is showing you where perception, story, or habits are out of sync. Energy becomes your guide, eliminating the need to guess. Most turn back here, understanding the ideas, but finding the practice uncomfortable, because owning your energy means relinquishing blame, stopping the outsourcing of your power to circumstances, people, or old narratives. This is confronting, but it's the beginning of liberation. When you stop waiting for the world to shift and start shifting from within, reality responds not through trendy manifestation, but through congruence. You are no longer sending static, but a clear signal that the world can hear. You've always influenced reality unknowingly. Now you're learning to do it intentionally. This is the last resource you'll ever need on energy mastery. Once you feel it, once you live it, there's no going back. Tricks and fluff fall away, leaving clarity, alignment, and unshakable presence. If you've come this far, you know this is about remembering. The system won't teach you this, but it's the skill that transforms everything. To delve deeper, beyond public discourse, join the Inner Sanctuary. It's our free newsletter packed with what they don't want shared. For a limited time, we're including a free copy of the Emerald Tablet to revisit the ancient blueprint of these truths. The link's below. Subscribe and feed the part of you that knows this is real. It is not adding to the noise of your life. So in a nutshell, the message here isn't about chasing some elusive source of energy out there, but about uncovering the incredible wellspring of power that already exists within you. It's about recognizing the conditioning that's taught us to disconnect, to numb, to leak our precious energy, and then gently, consciously, choosing to reclaim it. It's about becoming aware and removing the filters that prevent you from being your most authentic self. I'd love to hear from you. What resonated most with you in this video? Do you have any questions about reclaiming your energy or shifting your perception? Leave a comment below and let's start a conversation. And if you found this helpful and want to explore these ideas further, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content designed to help you unlock your inherent power and live a more conscious and aligned life. Thanks for being here, and I look forward to hearing from you.